Hello and welcome to another How to DeFi. I am Ryan and I like coffee. All right, so today I wanted to make a quick video to go over not all, but most of the projects that I'm invested in the DeFi space, and to give you a quick reason of why, and also kind of a relative score of how I'm doing on them. I am paranoid about my wallet, so I'm not showing you actual numbers or my full wallet address, but I'm going to walk you through it and let you see kind of what's going on. So starting with Avalanche and Trader Joe. There are three networks that I'm using for pretty much all of these. There's one outlier that I'll get to in a bit, but the networks are Avalanche, Phantom, and Binance Smart Chain for pretty much everything I'm going to show you right here. But let's go through it. So first off, I hold AVAX. Why do I hold AVAX? The market cap of AVAX is currently somewhere in the high 20s. At the time I bought it, it was about 10. And for me, why do I do this? I can either A, use it as collateral on Abracadabra, so I can borrow against it and still let my Avalanche grow over time. Or if I decide I don't want the risk of using it as collateral to borrow against, I could, for example, stake it on Beefy Finance and get some yield on my Avalanche that way. So I see Avalanche and the Avalanche network as a long-term hold. It's not something that I want to pump and dump. So that's something that I want to hold for a long time. So very bullish on Avalanche in the network in general. I think it's just getting started. Also Trader Joe as the DEX and the Joe token. I like the Joe token. It's done well for me as well. But also there is two other reasons. There are two other reasons. Let's get some grammar here. Two other reasons that I like Joe. Number one, I can use it once again as collateral. So I take my Joe, I stake my Joe as XJoe, which is earning me a yield. I think it's around 30-ish%. Then I can take the staked XJoe, put it into Abracadabra as collateral. And there's also the degen box from Abracadabra where I'm getting this extra 26%-ish, 17 to 26. It varies day by day. That's why I give you weird numbers as a range. But I'm getting extra yield on it in Abracadabra, and once again, I can borrow against it. So there's an added benefit to that as well. So Avalanche, Trader Joe, I like them both. They're long-term holds for me. Moving into individual projects, Fortress DAO. So I've been in Fortress DAO since literally day one. I still think there's a lot of life in this project. It depends on how the dev team pulls out of this very deep slump that it's in right now. It's under $10 as of the time of this recording, but outside of the initial peak from launch, it peaked, the second peak was around 230, I think. And I could easily see this going back there if they get their ducks in a row and deliver some utility to the token and the ecosystem. And I think that's what they're trying to do. So they have a stablecoin project and they're looking to maybe do some lending, something like that. So we'll see what happens there. But Fortress DAO, I still hold it. I'm holding my balance around 100 tokens. I think this is still a good long-term hold. Next, Wonderland Time. Daniel Sesta, nothing more to say. This guy is a genius in the crypto world. And not only is he he's a genius with integrity. So that for me speaks louder than just having the skills to get your money headed in the right direction. But when Popsicle Finance got hacked, he ensured that everyone was made whole, which is good on him. So Wonderland, I bought it, I stake it. Every time it dips, I buy more of it. I think this is a long-term hold as well for me. And they are doing really cool things with the treasury, like buying other assets when they dip, like Bitcoin and Ethereum, but only in the dip. So I think it's a really good long-term hold. Once again, none of this, by the way, is financial advice. This is just, I'm showing you what I hold and why I hold it. So I think this is a good long-term. Now, the next one, super high risk, very new, and I have no idea what's going to come of this, but I don't have much money in this as well. This was one I put, I think, $125 in to start. But it's called Kitty Finance, they have a new UI coming out that looks a little better and a lot less Hello Kitty. But essentially, this is a Tomb fork. It was the first one launched on the Avalanche network. The rewards are pretty high. It's like 8 to 10% per day for farming. And if you go to the nursery, which is their equivalent of the boardroom from Charge or the masonry from Tomb Finance, those rewards are very, very low because Kitty has been way above peg. It's pegged to Avalanche, so it should be around 115 bucks. And it was like 10 grand. And it's just nosedived, of course, because it's headed toward peg. But that is Kitty Finance on Avalanche. The next one, chicken farm. So intriguing, it's fun. I think it will do well in the long term. I don't have much money in this. It launched not yesterday, day before yesterday, I think. And so far, I have bought one NFT, and in one day, my NFT has doubled. I have chicken 6493. Yep, that's my chicken. And the floor price is currently 1.9. I bought it at 1.25. So in a day, I've essentially, I'm up about 75%. There are two tokens here. There's the egg token and the feed token. The feed token is essentially a burner, but does have a finite supply. And that is what you can add to your chicken to make your chicken lay more eggs. And the egg token is currently about $2, $2.35. And when I bought into it yesterday, it was around $1.20, $1.25, somewhere around there. Don't quote me on that number, but somewhere in the low dollar range. So in a day, essentially the price of the token has doubled. There is one kind of gotcha with this, is that if you stake, when you unstake, you'll pay an 8% fee for unstaking, and you have to claim the feed first, otherwise you lose that. I found that out the hard way this morning by losing about 115 feed tokens. But cool project. I like the vibe. I like the design. The dev team has also been really responsive. I wrote them this morning regarding my missing feed, and they took care of it pretty quick. So nice. Next, very high risk, Ice DAO. Ridiculous APY. As you can see, I do have some invested in here. I have a little bit that is still sitting here that maybe I will stake it. I have some time to make that decision of, am I going to stake it or am I going to sell it? So there is also this game theory with these. You don't always just have to buy it and stake it. I know that's what they're telling you, but to be honest, you can play the game however you want. So if the price dips down to $20 and I want to buy it and let the price go back up to the $40, $50 range and sell it, I haven't staked anything, but I've walked away with, doubling my money. So yeah, play it however you choose. But Ice DAO, I am in Ice DAO. Abracadabra. So I have this in here because I own the spell token, and more specifically the staked spell token, and I will not get rid of the staked spell token for a long time. It was just added to Coinbase, and it will continue to grow. This team is backed by Daniel Sesta, of course. He's part of the team. And this guy does really good things. His team is really solid. I could see this going places and doing really well. And that's why I hold it. I also use it for leverage. So I have Wonderland Time as leverage. I have AVAX as leverage. I have Joe as leverage. And I have some Phantom as leverage. And hopefully they continue to move forward with this. Just be careful. Market swings can really, either A, you literally lose your money, or B, you lose sleep because you're worried about it. So manage your leverage carefully. Leave a lot of headroom if you're not worried about losing the capital that you put in. But if you just want to try something new, check it out. And next is Galaxy Goggle DAO. Very high risk. I don't have much money in it. So yesterday I pulled my original capital out, which was $250-ish that I put in originally. And the token price was about $60 when I did that. And the token price is now 24. If you see my other video about the crash, it went as low as I think 12 in the past hour. and the market cap is now 75, let's call it 76, but it was about 61, I think. I'd have to look again, but somewhere around there. 7.1 days of runway, which means they probably dropped the yield a bit. No, it's actually went up. Wow, 9.1. Okay, now the next one. Very new, super high risk. I do not have high hopes for this, and while we're on here, let me do a quick price check on it. $112. So I bought into this about an hour ago at 150 bucks. We're already at 112. So this is dropping fast, but I'm curious what, oh, it says 99. Let's refresh. Maybe it went lower than it was. All right, so 112, 26 market cap, and runway 3.6 days. Still not a very long runway. And if I move myself out of the way, you will see 30.7235% on the rebase reward. It is really high percentage. You're looking essentially 1 day to recoup your money if the price moves sideways. But if it continues to trend down, you're going to lose money, obviously. Now, that's it for things on Avalanche. The next token is Phantom. The Phantom blockchain is somewhere like 5 billion, 4.5, 5 billion market cap. I could see this going 100 billion plus. And that's not just to hype it, but it's a really fast network. It's really undervalued, I think. It's cheap to use. It's simple to work with. And I could easily see this being a companion to Ethereum and doing a lot of really good things in the future. So for me, Phantom is something that I want to hold itself, the FTM token. And I really like some of the projects that are on here, as we'll get into in just a second. So next, Tomb Finance. Tomb is the OG. It's backed by Harry Ye. If you don't know him, check him out. Good dude. And Bitcoin billionaire who's turned into very much a Phantom bull and really loves the network and loves to build on it. So check him out. But essentially, Tomb Finance, you can buy the Tomb token. Tomb is paired to Phantom, so essentially they should always move relatively even. And the advantage of doing this is the yields on Phantom for staking Phantom in most places are really low, something like maybe 8 to 10% per year, something like that. It's not that high. But if you do the Phantom Tomb liquidity pool and you stake that on something like Beefy, you can get up to 1,500%. Or in the case of here, you can use that to farm T-Share. And T-Share is 70,000 tokens that will exist, and T-Share floats between about $10,000 and $15,000 right now. If you look a couple of years in the future, it could be a $50,000 to $100,000 token really easily. And the masonry is where you would actually stake the T-Share that you would get from farming. And when you farm it, you're going to get T-Share that you stake in here in the masonry. When you stake the T-Share in the masonry, then you get Tomb in return, which you can either loop it and put it back into the farm. So split it, create liquidity pool, deposit that, or you can just cash it out. That's going to give you, I think, about 0.7% per day. But if you use the Beefy liquidity pool, you don't get T-Share. The amount of liquidity pool you have goes up. But that's Tomb. Check it out. They're the originals. Cool project. Good people behind it. Next is a gnome fork called Hector DAO. Hector was one of the first ones to launch on Phantom. It might even have been the first one to launch on Phantom. Don't quote me on that. But essentially what they're trying to do is develop a little bit more in the realm of financial products, DeFi. But essentially at this point, as of recording, it's really just staking. You buy it, you stake it. And yeah, that really much is what it is. Next one, last one I'm going to talk about on Phantom is Spartacus and its partner protocol, Sparta Cadabra. So Spartacus is a own fork, just like the others. And it is also kind of geared more towards Wonderland time and how they present it. So Wonderland allows you to buy the token, the time token, stake the time token, wrap it. So instead of getting more tokens per rebase. When you wrap the token, the value of the token goes up by a fixed mathematical factor. For Wonderland, it's 4.5 times your token amount times the current index. And the current index is if you would have staked 1 on day 1, how many would you have now? Or it's your balance times the index times 4.5. I can never remember which one is which, but yeah, that's the formula. Spartacus does something similar where you buy the token, you stake the token, you get the rewards, which is something like 200,000% per year. Then you can wrap the token and use the token as collateral on Sparta Cadabra. Sparta Cadabra is an Abracadabra clone. And as of the time of this recording, they have an FTM vault and they have a wrapped staked Spartacus vault. So you can purchase your Spartacus. Let's say you have $10,000. You can purchase $10,000 worth of Spartacus. You can stake that. You can then deposit that $10,000 as collateral. And then you can borrow against it, getting their stablecoin, which is called Lambda. And you can use the Lambda coin to purchase other things. You could purchase more Spartacus and stake that, or you could purchase Tomb and stake that. You can do whatever you want with this money. You can also cash it out and put it in your pocket. You can do whatever you want to do. So the only trick though is, or catch to be careful of, is that you always need to maintain this healthy balance. So if Spartacus takes a nosedive of 50% and your loan health was at 30%, you will get liquidated. You will lose your capital. Same for any of these loan protocols, so always be careful. That is Phantom. Now, the next two are on Binance Smart Chain. This one is Charge DeFi. Charge, for me, has been okay. It's not done great, but it's done okay. It is audited, although even though it is audited, it did have an exploit in the vaults, similar to what happened, I think, to Grim Finance over the weekend, but the losses were, I think, also smaller here. But what I'm doing is I'm in the boardroom in here. So I have Static and Charge, which are their two tokens. So this Static is pegged to BUSD, so it should always be $1. It's a little bit under peg at the moment. And Charge is their T-share equivalent. This is free market value in floats. It's done well. I mean, I'm probably about 50 to 75% recouped on this already. But I'm curious what this does in the future. But this is on Binance Smart Chain, and it is a clone of Tomb. And the last one is Nemesis DAO. So Nemesis is also audited. It is on the Binance Smart Chain. It is an ohm fork. They do have a lot of discussion going on about what is the future of Nemesis. Nemesis started as an ohm fork, went live as an ohm fork, and there really wasn't much other discussion behind that at the time. The price went from a few $100s all the way to like 6,500 naturally, not from like a launch spike, but naturally. And now it has come way back down. And as of the time of this recording, quick price check says we're at $610. So that's actually really good. Yesterday it was as low as like 375. So it's growing again, and hopefully it continues to. But Nemesis for me was the first really high yield. In high yield, I mean like over 1,000,000%. It's still over 1,000,000%. But that is Nemesis, which is a ohm fork on the Binance Smart Chain. In my opinion, what sets it apart is that it is audited. That's the largest portion of what I'm holding. There are a couple others, but we'll leave those out for now. But always do your own research. Manage your risk accordingly, be careful, and take care. Thanks for watching.